Check 1, 2, 3. My check 1, 2, 3. Coming up on WCBI News at 9, a family is cleaning up after a possible tornado touched down in their backyard. What the National Weather Service is saying about the storm, coming up. And several cities and counties around the state remembering those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. We take you to Memorial Day events coming up on WCBI News at 9.
Telling your story. WCBI News at 9 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Marcus Hunter. While many people were able to sleep in this holiday morning, some folks in Monroe County woke up early to the sound of rolling thunder. One resident woke up to glass shattering in her bedroom window from the winds of a suspected tornado in her backyard. Shawanda Jones spoke with her as she and her family were cleaning up.
Despite clear indications that a tornado was here on the ground on Pickle Road, the National Weather Service did not issue a tornado warning, and people who live here want to know why.
There was no alert. We didn't know anything. There was nothing going on. There was nothing.
Miss Betty was fast asleep until she heard a bedroom window break from intense wind.
Luckily, the glass that came in didn't come through on my bedroom. It came in on a further bedroom. It run into the tub, actually, me and my little dog, and I didn't know when it would be over or what was going on.
It was too late. Our chief meteorologist Isaac Williams spotted the tornadic debris signature around 4:40 a.m.
We might have actually had a brief tornado touchdown east of Lackey.
A tornado touched down without warning from the National Weather Service.
This is our debris detector, and where I have circled here is a relative minimum in the correlation coefficient. Now we have to line that up with velocity and reflectivity as well, but all of these products match and seem to suggest that there might have been a brief tornado this morning a little east of Lackey.
Isaac asked the National Weather Service up in Memphis if they believe that was a tornado debris signature.
They did say that they did not believe that it was a tornado, but they are going to review the radar data and maybe potentially make a different determination or a future determination at a later date.
Miss Betty family lives a quarter-mile down the road. They all pitched in to start cleaning up fallen trees before the next round of severe weather strikes. You can see this debris pile is taller than I am, and I'm 5'5". Now, surprisingly, Miss Betty's yard was the only area on Pickle Road that was impacted as severely as it was. Telling your story right here in Monroe County, Shawanda Jones, WCBI News.
All right, and neither Miss Betty nor her dog were injured. An early morning remembrance in Amory drew a dedicated crowd to the city's Veterans Memorial. The Amory Veterans Association gathered this Memorial Day to honor those from Amory and Monroe County who gave their lives fighting for our nation's freedom.
Your freedom is not free. Those behind me there on the memorial are an example of that. Those that are yet to be recognized.
The Amory ceremony was the first of at least 2 remembrances in Monroe County. Aberdeen residents also gathered for a Memorial Day ceremony this morning.
Early this morning, we had the chance for some of us to see scattered showers and storms, and then a cold front came through and helped clear a lot of that out for our Memorial Day, pushing the heavy clouds and the rain chance off to the southeast, leaving us with a clear sky for our Monday night. Stepping outdoors right now, temperatures range anywhere from the low to middle 70s to the lower 80s, 73 in Oxford and Aberdeen, 77 in Starkville, 76 now at the Air Force Base, continuing to drop towards those upper 60s here in the next couple of hours. Marcus.
All right, thank you, Ashley. More Memorial Day remembrances. Starkville and Oktibbeha County residents also honored those who died in service to the country. A Memorial Day ceremony at the Oktibbeha County Courthouse included the national anthem, remarks from city leaders, and laying of the wreaths. The Starkville High School band also took part. 2 veterans say the Memorial Day celebration means a lot to all veterans.
it does mean a lot to me. I don't think I've missed one since coming back from overseas in 2010, and it just gives me a chance to come together with other veterans and members of the community to spend just a little time thinking about those that didn't come home.
It's an honor for me to still be serving for the one, so I can represent the one that gave the ultimate sacrifice, their life, the one that did not come back from combat. So that's what's great about it.
And the Memorial Day ceremony is an annual event for the county. And on this Memorial Day, people are taking time to honor those who gave their lives fighting for the country. The North Mississippi Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Kilmichael is the final resting place for some of the fallen. Cade Marlowe served in the National Guard. He says the North Mississippi Veterans Memorial Cemetery is very special to him. He has a twin brother and a grandfather laid to rest there.
It does our family's heart, good to come to the cemetery and attend these events. And every time you come here, you can't help but look around and just see how neat and how well kept the cemetery is, and how the staff here, how much this cemetery means to them. And then you look around at the other headstones in the cemetery, and you can only remember the sacrifice each and every individual that has been laid to rest there, the sacrifices they've made.
And William Ryan says there are around 290 soldiers buried at the North Mississippi Veterans Memorial Cemetery. Well, after the break, we're going to tell you how problems in another state are affecting the marina right here in Columbus.
Telling your story. You're watching WCBI News at 9 with Marcus Hunter.
All right, welcome back in. On January 16th, the lock at the 10-Tom Waterway in Demopolis, Alabama was damaged, forcing it to close. That has caused a slowdown in traffic along the waterway. Our Kamari Hamer talked to the general manager at the Columbus Marina about the damage downstream and how it is affecting his business.
We saw a decrease in our transient traffic because of the closure of the lock down in Demopolis.
Steve Ornt is the general manager at the Columbus Marina. He says the closure of the waterway in Demopolis has taken a huge toll on the way he operates upstream here in Columbus.
Typically we see from January until June, we'll see 1, 2, or 3 of the transient boats come through each week. And by transients, what I mean are boats that are generally 40, 50, 60 feet. They're traveling either north to get away from hurricanes down in Florida, or they're traveling south to get away from cold weather up north.
Arndt says while the long distance travel has been impacted, local traffic is more or less business as usual.
Our small boats, as in our local boats here, pontoon boats, ski boats, that sort of thing, it's been a normal season. The weather's been warmer, so people have been out on the water. Families are bringing the kids out and hopping on the boat and enjoying the weekend. But as far as the bigger boats, most of them really aren't moving.
Arndt says the damage at Demopolis has also messed up his fuel sales.
We saw probably a 90% decrease in our fuel sales for those boats because they just weren't running. We did have a few boats that were here when the lock closed that decided to stay here for a couple of months. They could have gone south to Demopolis, but they liked Columbus, they liked the area, they liked the marina, so they decided to stay here.
Now that the lock is starting to reopen, he anticipates things at the Columbus Marina getting back to normal.
I expect to have a strong June simply because most of the boats that weren't able to move because of the closure of the lock, I think they'll start moving after now that they've got it back open again. There are some boats that simply won't travel because of it, but I would say we're probably going to see about, as a guess, probably about 60 to 70% of the traffic we normally would have seen for the first 4 months. We'll see that in June.
And the Demopolis lock reopened on May 16th, exactly 4 months after that breach happened.
If you didn't get on the water today, get on the water tomorrow. It's still going to be hot. More details on your forecast after the break.
Your WCBI First Alert forecast with meteorologist Ashley Bryant.
Welcome back. 9:13 on your Memorial Day night. Earlier this morning, we had showers and storms pushing through northern Mississippi. Then the cold front came through, and now all of that is situated off to our east and southeast, leaving us with a mostly clear night. On a closer look, we have a few passing clouds, especially in places like Tishomingo County, but the rest of us staying relatively clear for our Monday night. Temperatures overall mild, if not still warm. Looking at those middle 70s to lower 80s. 81 degrees right now in Tupelo at 76, Columbus 77, Starkville and Macon 79 in West Point, Aberdeen and Oxford both at 73. We'll continue to drop through the 70s into the 60s over the next several hours, heading towards middle 60s tonight. 64 is our expected overnight low for Columbus, staying mostly clear, mild, and overall less humid compared to what we felt over the weekend and throughout the beginning of our day. Those middle 60s stick around for the rest of the corner. 65 tonight, Macon, Starkville, West Point, Tupelo, Aberdeen, Vernon at 64, Louisville at 66, Oxford 64 tonight as well, with Corinth and Iuka at 63. Heading into our Tuesday, it's going to be another hot day. Looking at temperatures working their way right back into the lower 90s. We'll hit that 90-degree mark in the afternoon. 2 to 4 p.m. staying relatively dry, no chance of rain, just some in and out passing clouds as we go through the afternoon into the evening. Upper 80s to lower 90s for the rest of the corner. 90 is the expected high also for Macon, Starkville, Louisville, Aberdeen, and Tupelo. 89 West Point and Vernon. 87 Oxford, Corinth, and Iuka to our southwest. Carthage looking to hit about 93, so a little bit warmer there, pushing towards central Mississippi. As we go overnight tonight into our Tuesday morning, staying clear through the afternoon. That's where we see those passing clouds trying to work their way in from the west and northwest, staying relatively in and out with those clouds as we continue through our Wednesday afternoon into the evening. It was quick, but there was that chance of isolated scattered showers and storms as we go through the middle of our week. Temperatures are going to be cooler with that rain chance both Wednesday and Thursday, sitting in the low to middle 80s. By Friday, rain takes a little bit of a break. We'll see those highs working their way back into the upper 80s. Rain again for the weekend, middle 80s. By Monday, more of those upper 80s.
Hi, I am Dr. Lee Richardson, an emergency room physician at Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle. Tonight we will discuss how to stay safe in the water. Now that warm weather is here, everyone wants to be in or around the water. But while we were having fun and staying cool are top priorities, most people don't think about water safety. Drowning is the leading cause of death for people between the ages of 5 and 24. Learning to swim is essential if you plan on being in or near the water. Here are other tips for staying safe. Always swim with a partner, whether you are swimming in a backyard pool or lake or river. Get skilled. It's always good to be prepared. Learning life-saving skills such as CPR and rescue techniques can help you save a life. Know your limits. If you are not a good swimmer or if you're just learning how to swim, don't go in the water that's over your head. Dive safely. Diving injuries can cause permanent spinal cord paralysis and sometimes even death. Only dive in areas that are known to be safe, such as the deep end of a swimming pool. Never leave children alone in or near a pool or spa even for a moment. Install a fence at least 4 feet tall around all 4 sides of a pool. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist, when we will discuss more water safety tips.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle.
All right, welcome into Vibe Check, and Ashley is joining me now. And Ashley, a big story coming out of the world of entertainment. South Park likes to have episodes where they parody famous people. Well, the latest person was Lizzo.
Okay.
So singer Lizzo is speaking out after South Park referenced her in an episode. The episode involved a medication named after the singer for people who cannot afford drugs like Ozempic and Mounjaro. In the show, the fictional drug called Lizzo is marketed as making patients simply not care about their weight or if they're overweight. The real life Lizzo took to social media with a live reaction of her watching parts of the episode. The singer appeared stunned, but then she expressed pride that her message of body positivity is well known enough to get attention of South Park creator Matt Stone and Trey Parker. So while they thought they were coming with a joke, Lizzo essentially saying the joke is on you guys because body positivity is what I am trying to be all about.
Right, kind of backfired in a way, I think, on their part. But also, I need the world to just get to a place where, why are we talking about other people's bodies anyway? Like it's their body, just move on.
It is, exactly. And I think that's, the message that Lizzo just continues to put out there. Why do we keep talking about this? Why do we bring this up? And so that's why she said with that episode, while they were trying to make fun of her in a way, they were still showing that she's all about body positivity.
You know what else is positive?
What's that?
Chalk art on a sunny day.
It really is.
Chalk art on a sunny day is perfection.
Yes,
it's positive, and that's our next story. In California, they are celebrating the colorful 38th East, and let me not butcher this, Madonneri Italian Street Painting Festival, where artists spent the weekend putting the finishing touches on their chalk designs. The goal is to have them complete on Memorial Day, so today, and today was also the final day of that festival. The money raised from the sponsored squares benefits the Children's Creative Project. There's also a stage for live music and food trucks on the mission grounds. The art lasts on the asphalt, get this, Marcus, as long as the rain stays away.
And you know, they're in California, so maybe they won't get that much rain and they can hang out for a little longer.
It's always sunny in California, right?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Now, have you ever done any chalk art of your own?
When I was a kid, maybe. I think the last time I did chalk, it was like back in COVID times. I was home from school because they kicked us off campus and I got bored.
Got bored. Yeah, we used to use chalk and draw and make hopscotch.
Absolutely. That's a way to spend the time outdoors when Mom says don't come in until the lights go off.
Exactly. Yeah. And another way you can spend your time outdoors on a sunny day, you can have some wine. And, wine is made with grapes.
Good vibes there.
Exactly. And today is National Grape Day. And to celebrate embracing the sweet and juicy fruit, grapes are one of the oldest plants on earth, as early records indicate grapes were originally cultivated about 7,000 years ago for trading in Western Asia, Cyprus, Egypt, and Iran. Now, today, there are nearly 10,000 known varieties of grapes from around the world, with about 1,300 specific varieties found in vineyards to produce wine. And you can celebrate today by including grapes into your meals, learning more about the health benefits, and even celebrating National Grape Day by having a popsicle, because today is also National Popsicle Day. So you can have you a grape popsicle, and then you'll be celebrating all together.
That is perfect. Now, when it comes to wine, as long as I don't find out that that's a company that makes it the old school way where you get into a bucket and step on it.
Oh, yeah.
Then we're fine.
Well, what if you made your own wine by getting into a bucket and stepping? Because I know some people go do that, muscadine jubilees and things like that. They kind of step on it and make. You want to do that for your own?
No. No.
Okay, but hey, maybe you can get your own wine that you don't have to go that route for.
Right. Just go to the store.
Call it Isaac. Isaac knows all about the wines.
Boy, does he.
Sports Talk is next.
telling your story. This is WCBI News on Fox 4 with Marcus Hunter. Meteorologist Ashley Bryant. And John Sokoloff with sports.
All right, so welcome into Sports Talk. I'm being joined now by Grace. And Grace, last week, you may remember, I'm jumping up and down in the newsroom
You
because
sure were.
I thought that a high-check home run sent Mississippi State back home for a regional host site, but that did not happen. What happened?
You know, a lot of people thought just win one game in the SEC tournament you're hosting, and then it was maybe win one more. And then after they had won two, which was beating Texas A&M, it was, you need another one. So they didn't get that other win, and unfortunately, they're not one of the 16 hosts.
And now that Mississippi State's not one of the 16 hosts, what do we know about their destination now? I guess, where are they going now?
They are going to Charlottesville, Virginia. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's the home of Virginia. I haven't been. But they will be playing in that regional against St. John's, who is the 3 seed. The 4 seed in that regional is Penn. Virginia is the 12 seed overall, so that's paired with the 5 seed overall, who is Arkansas. So if it comes down to supers, they could be heading to Fayetteville.
Okay, so
jumping ahead a little bit there.
Yeah, jumping ahead a little bit, but that's fine. That's what we like to do here. So let me get this straight. If Virginia is the 12, does that mean that State really wasn't that close to make a host site? Because I would think that, they will put State where the 16 seed was, not the 12 seed.
Yeah, so it actually ends up being more geographic than it is, resume-wise. I would think they would be toward the 16 or 15 if it really did play out with resume and how close they were to hosting. But it's actually trying to keep teams closer geographically. So I think North Carolina had 3 teams hosting.
Wow.
Virginia had 1, so there was a lot of space to cover on that East Coast. But it's not an indictment to what State did. They were definitely one of the last few out. Gotcha.
I remember there was a year where Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Southern Miss all hosted a regional here in the state. So that definitely can happen. Chris Lemonis, obviously, he can't be very happy about the decision for the Bulldogs not to host. They played very well to end the season. What is he saying about all of this?
We talked to him today, and he just said he was really frustrated with the entire process and that it seems like the committee sort of picks and chooses what they want to care about. It's RPI sometimes, but then you look at a team like Arizona, who obviously won the Pac-12 outright. They won the Pac-12 tournament, but their RPI is 31. That is 6 spots lower than Mississippi State. And before this, we were told, teams with an RPI higher than 20 aren't going to get into that hosting spot. But then you see ECU in Arizona with an RPI of 22 and 31 get to host, and Mississippi State's kind of just left wondering, why not us?
And another thing, when you think about Dudy Noble Field, it's one of, if not the greatest atmosphere for college baseball. You would think that if State was on the cusp, the NCAA would say, okay, we want to make sure we have 16,000 showing up to each game. We want to make sure that the atmosphere looks good, but that didn't happen. Did that surprise you a little bit that State didn't get on just in the fact that they have one of the best stadiums in the country?
It definitely did surprise me, but I think, once you find out who's on that selection committee, and East Carolina being the 16th team to host, the very last one of them in, it kind of makes more sense when you learn East Carolina's athletic director is on that selection committee.
Okay.
And obviously he's not allowed to be in the room when they're talking about ECU, but Florida's AD and Indiana's AD were also on the committee. Both of their teams, bubble teams, they probably shouldn't have made it into the tournament, but did. So you kind of wonder, are there handshakes behind closed doors we don't see, and how that process is?
Well, hopefully this is not the end for Mississippi State as far as the regionals. If they win the regional and head to the super regional, again, you said Arkansas is on the other bracket, but if Arkansas loses their regional, there could be a chance to host a super regional.
They would need Kansas State, who is the 3 seed, to win that, I believe, because if the 2 seed wins that regional, unfortunately, because it's a 5-12, the 5 seed would end up hosting supers.
Oh, okay, so they won't just let the
NCAA
it's
got to be the 3 or 4 seed. I know, I would really prefer the supers to be at the Dude, but I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I definitely got to keep our fingers crossed for all of that. What do you have coming up for us tonight at 10?
We have more stuff, and you can hear more in depth from Chris Lemonis about why he is frustrated, and then a look at the other SEC teams that made it in the field.
All right, well, I'm frustrated as well because I wanted to enjoy
You're one of the
some
fans
baseball.
that's frustrated.
Yeah, I wanted to enjoy some baseball at the dude. All right, well, Ashley has your sports after the break.
Your WCBI First Alert forecast with meteorologist Ashley Bryant.
Well, apparently I'm supposed to be talking about sports, so that's not going to be happening. Let's talk about weather. We are seeing a mostly clear sky for our Monday night. A lot of the heavy clouds, the rain chance continue to push off to the east and southeast as that cold front came through earlier today. And now as we look on a closer look, we do have a couple of passing clouds in our most northeastern corner, a little bit to our southwest as well. But other than that, it's a relatively calm and clear night. Temperature is still relatively warm out there, 76 degrees in Columbus, 73 in Starkville, but holding on to the 80s. Tupelo at 81, Macon 77, Oxford now at 72. Continuing to drop out of the 70s into the 60s over the next several hours, eventually heading towards middle 60s for Columbus, overnight low of 64, staying clear, mild, and definitely less humid as the moisture from those clouds and rain have continued moving out of the viewing area. The rest of our corner sits with temperatures in the middle 60s as well. 65, Macon, Starkville, West Point, Tupelo, 64 also for Aberdeen and Vernon, Louisville at 66. Oxford 64, Corinth and Iuka to our north at 63. So relatively mild for our Monday night into our Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, heading right back to those lower 90s, high of 90 degrees by 2 to 4 p.m. Staying dry, 0% chance of rain for the second day of our week. We just may get a chance to see a few passing clouds as we head into the afternoon. The rest of us will hit highs in the upper 80s to lower 90s by that afternoon to late afternoon time period. 90 also the high for Macon, Starkville, Louisville, Aberdeen, and Tupelo. Vernon and West Point both at 89. Oxford, Corinth, and Iuka to our north and northwest at 87. Staying clear tonight and into most of our Tuesday morning by the afternoon. Pushing in from the west and northwest, clouds will work their way in by Tuesday evening and continue to stick around overnight Tuesday into our Wednesday. Now, watch here quickly, especially across the southern half of our viewing area. Showers and potentially a few thunderstorms are expected for the middle of our week, quickly clearing out as we head towards the second half of our week. Now, the rain chance does continue for our Thursday. Temperature staying a little bit cooler there in the low to mid 80s. Friday taking a break from the rain, heading back to the upper 80s. maintaining middle to upper 80s as we go through the weekend into early next week.
Telling your story. You're watching WCBI News at 9 with Marcus Hunter.
All right, so welcome back in. Former President Donald Trump is looking to gain more support along the campaign trail. This weekend, he took to swing states, North Carolina, where he was met with waves and cheers, and also a rockier reception at the Libertarian National Convention after getting booed and heckled during a raucous speech. CBS's Astrid Martinez has more on what lies ahead for Trump and Biden this week.
As summer kicks off, the presidential race is also heating up. In North Carolina this weekend, NASCAR fans cheered ahead of former President Trump's arrival at the Coca-Cola 600 race. It's Trump's third visit to the swing state this election.
It's going to be a great race.
But his reception was far less friendly while on the campaign trail in D.C. on Saturday.
I will be a true friend to libertarians in the White House.
Trump was booed by the crowd at the Libertarian National Convention after asking for the third party's endorsement. President Biden did not attend the Libertarian Convention, instead delivering the commencement address at West Point's graduation and using the moment to take a jab at former President Trump.
On your very first day at West Point, you raised your right hands and took an oath, not to a political party, not to a president, but to the Constitution of the United States of America.
President Biden will also head to a swing state this week, Pennsylvania. It will be his 7th time in the state this year. Astrid Martinez, CBS News.
And also this week, jurors in Trump's so-called criminal hush money trial in New York will begin their deliberations. If he is found guilty, it would be a first for a former president. Well, after the break, I sit down with Columbus Police Chief Joseph Daughtry, and we talk about his first year and a half and some changes that he hopes to make. You don't want to miss it. Columbus Police Chief Joseph Daughtry has been in charge of CPD for Columbus Police Chief Joseph Daughtry has been in charge of CPD for just under a year and a half. During that time, crime in the city has dropped.
Columbus, prior to me getting here, had almost 12 homicides that year. Last year, my first complete year, we cut that in half. We had 5. You know, our violent crimes are down.
Daughtry understands on the surface it is hard to believe, especially since the city just saw its first 2 murders of the year a month apart from each other. The victims in their mid to early 20s. Daughtry, who brings over 25 years of experience working in cities like New Orleans and Jackson, knows in order to stop Columbus from going down a dangerous path, it has to start by listening to those who statistically commit the most violent crimes.
We always go talk to kids and tell them, you don't need to do drugs, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do this, but nobody's listening to them. Don't carry guns. What happened to asking them, young man, why are you carrying a gun? You know, to actually hear, well, I'm scared. You know, my friend got shot, or my cousin got shot, or I'm scared, I'm gonna get shot.
According to Urban Institute, adults between the ages of 18 and 24 were the most likely to be arrested for violent crimes. That's why Daughtry says his officers are not only patrolling and listening, they're putting boots on the ground and planting them in communities.
This year we're getting into the schools. Well, I'm partnering with the football coach, and we're going to be talking to the kids. I got some guys in my department who are coaching Little League basketball, Little League football. I do have an officer that has a mentoring program. He goes around and he does back to school drives. He does Coke giveaways. You know, so we're buying in, but we are starting to focus on our children.
And that may include confronting parents who he says may be culpable in enabling their children's criminal behavior, even though he admits sometimes it can be a conflicting task.
Well, you have a parent tell you, well, I'm on a fixed income. He's giving me $1,000 a week to pay the bill so I can feed the rest of my children. You know, it kind of hits home. But then you got some parents out here who just want to uphold their children's wrong.
He says despite this fact, his job is making everyone in the city of Columbus feel safe, even if that means prosecuting parents.
If we find out and we can prove that the parent is either hiding the guns or burning evidence that we're looking for, we're going to charge the parents with accessory after the fact.
He says for those who make a mistake and commit a crime, instead of putting your family in a position to get locked up for accessory while they believe they're just protecting their child, it is best to just turn yourself in.
When you come to the Columbus Police Department, you're not going to be mistreated. You know, if you made a mistake, if you committed a crime and you come turn yourself in, we want it that way. We want it peaceful. But we are coming to look for you. The days of just putting that paper on the desk and hopefully one day we get you in a traffic stop is over. You hurt somebody in Columbus, you could best believe we're coming looking for you.
Daughtry says when he initially arrived in Columbus, he sat down with city leaders and those inside CPD for a 90-day assessment. Not everyone was on board with some of the changes he wanted to implement.
When I first got here, I bumped heads with some individuals because I guess they feel because their granddaddy fried the first piece of chicken in Columbus, they were entitled to certain things. And what I wanted people to understand is I don't chief or police based on economic status or social status. I chief of police for safety of everybody.
He says thanks to those who saw his vision and want to see the city move forward, his department is now getting what it needs to go after and find criminals quicker. Since assuming command of the police department, the city has approved higher starting pay, along with giving the chief the go-ahead to modernize uniforms, weapons, and equipment. They've added a SWAT team and Operation T-Bone, taking back our neighborhoods, which has increased visibility in high-crime areas. Daughtry says this will increase productivity, visibility, morale, and time management. Studies show 70 to 80% of squad cars in the U.S. have computers inside. They offer quick access to information, writing reports, and communicating with dispatch. They are vital tools in modern-day law enforcement. Daughtry says he isn't sure why they were taken out of CPD patrolled cars, but new updated computers are now going in.
I don't want you leaving East Columbus, coming all the way back to the PD to do a report. You can park somewhere in a school zone, you can park in a business that might been having problems, or in a high crime area, park right in the neighborhood and do your report right there.
At one point in CPD's history, there were more than 100 police officers. Chief Daughtry says before he got there, that number had dwindled down to 27. After 8 new officers were sworn in last week, the number now stands at 44. He wants to be at 55 by the end of the year, but his overall goal is to get to 75. But even with the numbers they have, his officers remain visible because it's the culture he is working to establish.
When they come up for their briefing that morning and they're sitting around and they're a little upset because maybe they had plans with their wife or their girlfriend or with the kids and they know they have to work, and then all of a sudden the chief come in, the assistant chief come in, and captains come in, and we're in uniform too. And from the time we start to the time we leave, we're there with you. It makes an impact.
Changes have also been about educating his officers on everything from budgeting, community policing, a new report writing system, even how to order new vehicles.
We're talking to business owners on how they can be safe. In the very near future, we're going to have a business safety summit where we're going to invite all the business owners to the PD, and we're going to talk about some things that we're bringing to the city that can help them to keep their business safe.
He says at the end of the day, he and his officers want the city of Columbus to feel like the friendly city.
I want this senior to be peaceful, have a peaceful night. I want these kids to be
All right, so a year and a half into his, we're going to talk about this World War II monument that's here in Columbus, Mississippi. Now, this monument shows the history of local soldiers who were lost in World War I, but not the whole story. Some leaders and residents are trying to change that the whole story is not there. When the monument was installed at the Magnolia Bowl in the 1930s, it only included the name of the white soldiers who were killed in the Great War. And when the monument was moved to the courthouse lawn a few years ago, the omission of the names of black soldiers who were killed in the war was discovered. Chuck Yarbrough, the U.S. history teacher at the Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science, has been working with the city and county leaders to identify those soldiers, and now a temporary marker has been installed next to the original monuments. Those city and county leaders are working to create a permanent marker for African American war dead.
Tomorrow we stay hot, temperatures in the low 90s, bringing in a chance of rain with slightly cooler temperatures for the middle of our week. A break from the rain Friday warms us back up, and then we see that kind of rinse repeat. Slightly cooler over the weekend, rain chance moves back in. By Monday, could be back in the upper 80s.
All right, see you back here in a few minutes on CBS.